Oh, I kind of want to try Aurora. It's either Aurora or Real. It's none of the others. I'm 99% sure. Like, the third candidate could be Abigail, but we know that she's like a fourth party or something. So let's go for... I mean, Real is most likely the killer. The question is Wizards the killer or not? I pointed Real's name. Real? Well, it could be possible that Real is an undercover investigator. Real may very well be Wizards. Given the circumstances and the content of the conversation, it's unlikely that you, me, the people from the mansion, Thomas, or Aurora are Wizards. Okay, maybe it's not Aurora then. It must be Real then. Well, that's true. I'd lose respect for you if you chose those people. Shit, I should have chosen Aurora now. No, I think you would have brain damage. That wouldn't be that off the mark for me. Now, considering the loud scream I just made, that leads me to exclude one more person. Ah yes, what was that all about? A loud voice that comes from a room on the first floor can't be heard by the people on the second floor. On the other hand, everyone on the first floor can hear it. But I could not hear my scream on the other end of the telephone. It's not Alex. Which means Alex, who is also on the first floor, can't be Wizards. Yes, so the only ones who remain are Akira, Giselle, Real and Jacob. Of course, it can't be Akira either. The first time Wizards called me, she was in the bathroom with you, so she couldn't have called me. Here we go, just in case someone was missing that picture, we get it again. Oh, you mean when that hentai pervert was peeking at us? She was in the bathroom with me, so Akira can't be Wizards. I didn't do that on purpose. You're not going to let me forget about that anytime soon, are you? Anyway, it can't be Akira. Also, Akira said that she would go back to her room with Giselle. If Giselle and Akira were in the same room, it would have been difficult for Giselle to call me. Yeah, those two are always together, so it would be difficult for Giselle to call you for a long period of time. In that case, there are two suspects left. Jacob and Real. Jacob and Real? Could it really be Real? They knew what they were doing there. Because there's no way that alcoholic is an undercover investigator. Hey, we should let go of any preconceptions. We have to consider the possibility that Jacob is a Wizard as well. Even so, can we narrow it down any more? It would be better to talk to them directly. I call Real. Okay, this is different now. Hello? It's me, Ikeda. I'd like to talk to you. Do you have a second? Hi, Ikeda. Did you find out where that scream came from? She shouldn't have... What? Of course I have a moment to talk. What is this about? What scream? I would like you to come to my room, just you alone. Would that be alright? Maybe she can't kill Jacob now. Yes, but what's going on? Not knowing the details scares me. I'll tell you when you're here. I'd appreciate it if you could come as soon as possible. I mean, Wizards know. We told Wizards, hey, we're gonna call you in a second. And then we call Real. If Real really is Wizards, then she's gonna go, oh, well, I guess he found me out. Alright, I'll be there in a bit. I'll be waiting. Accusing Real of all of a sudden is risky. What if you're wrong? In that case, I'll just apologize. Yes, never ask for permission. Always apologize. Rather than, you know. Don't you feel any sense of guilt? She may become terribly upset. Ikeda, it's me. Can I come in? That was quick. Yes, please come in. The door's unlocked. Which is a smart thing to do in the situation. Hello, Ikeda. What did you want to talk about? Also, why did you want to talk to me alone? What's going on? I wanted to ask you a few things. Real, you're Wizards, aren't you? Wizards? What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're trying to say. Okay, well, I tell Real what I've deduced. The people who are excluded and people who are unlikely to be Wizards. However, I try to avoid talking about what happened with Alex as much as possible. With this information, we've narrowed down the list of people who could be Wizards to 2. Wizards could still be Jacob, by the way. Jacob and you, it could just be that we need to choose the wrong person. So who of you two could Wizards be? I took a close look at the name Wizards. Is there Real in there? Real Baxter. Wizards. Is it like upside down or something? I don't know. It's strange that this is the plural form of the word wizard. Perhaps this name contains important information about Wizard's identity. So what could that be? Was there something that narrowed it down further? What about the Wither Hills white wine brand? That's a red herring. I continue in Eniko's muttering line of thought. Yes, that's a possibility. It's possible that Jacob based that name on a wine brand. But Jacob is a picky guy and prefers high-end wine. He would have used the name of a More exclusive winery, not a supermarket wine. So let's look at the second possibility. The NBA team, the Washington Wizards. Are you serious? That's like the reason for being called Wizards. It's a basketball team from Washington, and I remember one of the guests talking about Washington before. That's right. Real said that she's a physician from Washington. Exactly. Undercover investigators usually use the place they are from in the backstories to ensure there aren't any slip-ups during their mission. Because if they say the wrong things about a place they don't know, people who are familiar with that place might blow their cover. So perhaps your place of birth really is Washington. Therefore, when you tried to come up with a codename, you thought of Washington and that name popped into your head. This means that you've revealed your identity by telling me what city you're from. Which is retarded, because you'd think that an undercover investigator could come up with a better codename than something related to their birth city in a heartbeat. Like, choose a color. Oh, yellow. That's my codename. Or call me Investigator-kun or something. I don't know. Hey, wait just a minute. Can I say something? Even if you really believe that I'm Wizards based on that information, isn't that rather flimsy proof? You also can't discount the possibility that Jacob wanted to make me look suspicious. No, it took Wizards only a second to come up with that name. Jacob couldn't have come up with that in such a short time. Even if he could have done so, why would he use the name of an NBA team? Most people wouldn't associate Washington with baseball. Basketball, rather, sorry. Also, I have conclusive evidence that proves that you are Wizards. Conclusive evidence? Didn't you notice that I muted the phone for a moment when you called earlier? When I muted it, I asked Neniko to call the guests' phones from Alex's room. What? Oh my god, he's lying to her. The only phone that was in use was the one in your room. He's lying to her, that's why he omitted, like, Alex's whereabouts and stuff. Isn't that funny? Only Wizards and I were using our phones. If your phone was in use, who were you talking to? No room phones were being used except for yours and mine. The phone in my room? You must be mistaken. Yeah, it could be a gamble, because what if she used another phone? Stop playing innocent. The gig is up. Or the jig, I guess. I thought it was written with a J. Anyway, you might as well drop the act, Wizards. Huh. So that's why you muted your phone. I've been played like a fool. But I remember clearly asking you not to reveal my identity. So you are Wizards after all. Actually, I wasn't sure that it was you until just now. Sorry. It looks like you admitted to it a little bit too soon. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Calm down and think about it. Do you really think I could have asked Neniko to go to Alex's room by herself to call all of the phones? There's no way she would have done that. Why do I feel totally useless right now? Because you're fucking retarded. Oh no, sorry, not. I thought Real was asking that, but sorry, Neniko, you're not a dummy. Like, you are all right. It's just that I didn't clue you in earlier. But now that you mention it, I don't think I would have done that. Ah, you were bluffing, and I believed you. No do-overs, I'm afraid. Sorry I had to fool you. But I'm glad that you've revealed your true identity. However, Wizards, we have to be on equal ground. You've got to be kidding me. Fine, you've bested me. Alright, I'll talk. I'll need a stiff drink first, though. I can give you a stiffy. I got my hands on an excellent bottle of whiskey earlier. Let's have a glass of that. Slainte, Wizards? What language is that? You're bloody annoying, Senikida. Yeah, I hear that a lot. So does this save Jacob, or did he still die? Oh god, that's a beautiful CG. Are you sure this whiskey isn't poisoned? I got this whiskey before the people from the mansion became hostile to us, so don't worry about it being poisoned. Except for if anyone came into our room at any point in time where we weren't here, like when we were being strapped to a table in the basement before. But whatever. But you know, Real, you're pretty rough around the edges. Shut up, who cares about my personality? If you have something to ask me, just ask. But you should understand that there are certain things I can't tell you. Her real background. Her real's real background. So what organization do you belong to? CIA? MI6? As I said, there are things I can't talk about. I can't just tell you who I work for, moron. Well, why not? Don't worry, I understand. Alright, won't ask again. How did you manage to get onto the guest list? Oh, pardon me. You made your way onto this island by using an invitation sent to someone else, didn't you? One of those subjects I can't really talk about. But alright, yes, my invitation was originally sent to someone named Sean Baxter. He was knee-deep in problems, and we managed to ensnare him. We wanted to send an undercover investigator to this island, so I cut a deal with him and became his representative. He ended up being hospitalized with a sudden illness. I see. However, the people working in this mansion are quite cautious. It would be difficult to convince them that you are a relative of one of the guests. Who are you, really? I wasn't lying when I told you I was a physician in Washington. Of course, I'm not doing that work anymore, and I only worked as a physician for about a year. What kind of reputation did you have as a physician? What? Why are you asking that? Nothing out of the ordinary. I see. Well, with her personality, it wouldn't surprise me if she had a bad reputation. Why am I really annoyed with you right now? Okay, her real background. Like, really real. For real this time. Wizards is a rather strange alias. I think we established the background of the alias before. Are you a basketball fan? When I was a student, I used to play basketball, so yeah, I shouldn't have chosen a word associated with Washington, but most people would not associate wizards with Washington. Yeah, most people wouldn't, but don't forget that someone rather special made a connection. Neniku Izumazaki. She possesses such a unique ability, yet she can't utter a single word without tripping over her tongue. Why is it mean to me? However, Real, you weren't the only guest with a medical background. Isn't it difficult to deceive others without having the knowledge of an active physician? I was planning to brush up on my studies so I wouldn't be exposed. However, knowing too much is not good either. It's easier to play the part of an ignorant little woman than that of an outstanding doctor. Wow, I see. This is very important. Could you tell me about your weapons and skills? I have a Glock 30 with 3 spare magazines. That's the only gun I brought with me. We've been shot at earlier, if you can remember. Close quarters martial arts, hacking, sabotage skills, and so on. I've trained in almost everything. Looks like you could come in handy then, although you're not very well armed. What? She has a gun, that's good enough, I would say. Don't be silly. I plan to use a Glock 42, which has an even smaller magazine size. I'm quite familiar with it. I didn't expect a large battle to happen and only planned on using a gun in emergencies. Fortunately, looks like a large battle is about to happen. How large do you think it's gonna be? Like, we're up against one singular, I assume, demon. I'm glad there aren't many people from this mansion, but I'm rather worried about that monster. It's a humanoid biological weapon developed for the military. I hadn't had to face it myself yet. I don't think we can easily neutralize it. Neniku, what impressions did you have when you saw it? Well, don't remind me of that all of a sudden. Let me see. As far as I could tell, its movement seemed slow, but I can't say anything because it might not have shown its true power at that time. In other words, you know nothing, Neniku. That's pretty useless. Oh, I was in a tough spot, you know. Don't bully her like that. Anyway, if it bleeds, we can kill it. We should be prepared to fight it at any time, though. Alright, I just hope it won't come to that. That report I read was pretty scary. Are we really going to be alright? Okay, more about the real background. You're pretty nosy, aren't you? As I said, I'm not at liberty to tell you anything else about my background. Guess I should ask about other things. Okay, the island then. Real, what do you know about this island? Sorry, but I don't know that much. What? Out of the 3 other investigators who infiltrated this place so far, 2 have disappeared. Oh. The only one who returned was not able to discover any detailed information about this island. We found out so far, though, that this is a base for prostitution, organ trade, and some kind of weapon development. It sounds like you have more than enough information to blow the lid off this place, so why haven't you? Many well-known politicians and business people have frequented this island, so we couldn't expose the actual state of things here in the usual way. Besides, we're after this island's research and development. We're not that interested in prostitution and the trade of organs. Yeah, because the state literally doesn't care about the small man. They're fucking assholes. So you needed to verify the information that had been gathered so far. If your superiors discovered that this kind of biological weapon was being developed on this island, what would they do? Something smells fishy. They're hiding something, aren't they? To be honest, I have my doubts as well. Hang on. This is classified information. I can't talk about this, or else I'd jeopardize my position. Don't worry, there's no way that information could leak out in the first place. Why, because we're all going to die? This is only conjecture, but perhaps one of our superiors is one of the island's clients who also knew about the island's research. That's what I've been thinking. I see. In other words, the superior who's seen that research wanted to obtain the technology by any means necessary. However, if he revealed all of the details, it would be obvious that he was a client of the island's other services. So he made up stories about weapons of mass destruction so that your organization would have a reason to seize and obtain that biological weapon? It's just an educated guess, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. But if so, I'm just a pawn being used to satisfy someone else's greed. I'm really fed up. I can understand that. Why don't you get a new job? I'm a bad guy. I can only do dirty jobs like this one. I've done too many bad things to be able to lead a normal life. Are we gonna invite her to be our partner or something? I mean, she can do some very dirty jobs, and I have some very dirty jobs available, I think. Hey, if I can do it, so can you. Well, if you want to turn over a new leaf, drop by at my office. We'll talk. I don't think you're keeping your hands that clean either, Ikeda. Well, I'll keep it in mind. Don't expect anything, though. Anything else? Can you tell me more about this island? Any minor details are helpful. Anything else that comes to mind? I don't think I know anything else. No, wait. Come to think of it, for some reason, the research on this island suddenly stagnated 10 years ago. Apparently the flow of special chemicals they were using slowed to a trickle, but I don't know why. 10 years ago. Was there anything in the documents about 10 years ago? Does it mean something happened at that time? Perhaps they ran out of money? Ask Neneko. No, prostitution and the organ trade continued at the same levels as before, and there were plenty of clients. It's unlikely that they ran out of money. If that's the case, then what could have slowed down the research? The disappearance of an essential element used for research, or maybe an important researcher who went missing. Is it possible that these murders are connected to that? Can the killer negotiate with the people from the mansion because they possess something that was lost, like a code? It is possible. If it would allow them to resume the research, they would definitely be interested in obtaining such a code. The question is, like, they always say the people from this mansion, but the only people left are Vincent and Abigail. No, wait, Vincent is... No, Vincent is not dead. Where's Vincent? Oh, shit. Maybe that's the unlock code they're after. Could be the reason why Vincent and his associates would revolt. But why was the killer able to obtain that unlock code in the first place? It remains a mystery. At any rate, I'm glad that there's a possible connection between the research on this island and the killer. About the island once more? Sorry, but that's everything I know about this island. Let me ask you about... Oh, look, the background is still here, so I guess we're gonna have to... Yeah, we're gonna have to continue with that later. Tell me what you were doing before and after Thomas's murder. I want to hear the details. Before I went to the dining hall, I was drinking in the lounge with Jacob. That idiot couldn't keep his mouth shut after a few drinks. He was a real fountain of information. I see, you were spending time with Jacob. I thought that Jacob kept you there against your will, but it actually was the other way around. It's a dirty job, but someone's gotta do it. He appeared to be in quite a drunken state, and I was only pretending to drink so that it wouldn't interfere with my mission. So what happened after that? Abby, the maid, told us that the food was ready, so we went to the dining hall. Didn't you arrive rather late? If I remember correctly, you were the last guest to arrive in the dining hall. Right, Neneko? Yes, you're right. Come to think of it, I thought I'd quickly run back to the guest room building. I went to the bridge, but I noticed that the heavy iron door was closed. I figured that opening it would take too much time, so I just went back to the dining hall instead. I don't know if he was waiting for me or just took his time in the bathroom, but I ran into Jacob again, and we went to the dining hall together. That's weird. That's it. I see, so the iron door was closed. Was there anything unusual about the corridor? Unusual? Nothing in particular. Man, if only I still knew, like, the order of events of the guests entering dining hall. Although it could definitely be that Jacob closed the door. But how would he get past her to close the door and then be in front of her again to go to the dining hall with her? So who closed the door? Was it Giselle, after all? Or maybe one of the servants? No, come to think of it, I think the iron doors were open at first. Does that mean that someone closed them? The iron doors were open? When was that? I was disgusted by Jacob's drinking, so I pretended I had to go back to my room to adjust my makeup. What time was it? It was before Abby told us about lunch, so it had to be sometime before everyone gathered in the dining hall. Sometime before everyone got together in the dining hall, so the doors were open at that time. However, when I went to the corridor later on, the doors were closed again. That seems to be the case. Someone must have lowered the doors. Someone lowered the iron doors. There must have been a reason for that. Something to do with killing, what's-his-face? Thomas. Why would anyone need to close those doors? Did you notice anything about the causes of death or the murders of Thomas and Sir Raymond? If you're asking about my autopsies, I was taking them very seriously. I wasn't hiding anything. Thomas burned to death and Sir Raymond died of blood loss after he was tortured. Thomas burned to death where there wasn't any fire. Sir Raymond was cautious but ended up being murdered anyway. From the perspective of an undercover investigator, what do you think? Sorry, my door is creaking. Kind of scary playing a game like this and having a door that just creaks and moves on its own. Sorry, but I don't really know what to think. The way I see it, the circumstances surrounding Thomas's murder were very strange indeed. And although Sir Raymond was extremely vigilant, he was killed. But if the killer is a trained assassin, they would have overpowered him with ease. Sir Raymond probably had a gun or some kind of communication device. I don't think he would have had any time to use any of them though. One more thing, Real. Did you hear any strange moaning after you arrived at the island and were escorted to your room? Strange moaning? Yes, I think I did. It sounded like the useless screaming of a half-witted girl. Forgot about her screams. Did you hear anything else? A man's groans, for example? A man's groans? No, I don't think I did, but is this connected to any of the murders? I'm only guessing here, but I think that Sir Raymond was captured and killed around the same time we were shown to our rooms. He was tied up and drugged. After that, all the killer had to do was torture and kill him. The killer seems to have harbored quite a grudge against him. But was he tortured in the same room where we found his body? I wonder. Even if the killer was a professional, I don't think Sir Raymond would fall into such an obvious trap. If you were Sir Raymond, what would catch you off guard? Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. That would have caught him by surprise. I see, someone who should not have been there. Like Aurora. You know. Who could the killer be? My guess would be that it's a trained assassin. Okay. That's all I have to say about that. Have you heard enough? Real, would you happen to know a girl called Aurora? Aurora? Who's that? What does she look like? She's blonde with blue eyes and wears a big blue ribbon in her hair. There's someone on this island who looks like that? I don't remember seeing her, but could she have survived what they did to the girls in this mansion? Well, if you don't know her, forget about it. But perhaps you shouldn't ask Real about Aurora. Real doesn't know about her either. If she was a virtual character created by that computer, it's only natural that none of the other guests don't know about her. Except for Alex, who very clearly reacted to her name. But why did Alex react like that when I mentioned her name? I wonder. Here you go. Never mind. I want to ask you one last thing. I find it hard to believe that an undercover investigator like you doesn't have a way to get in touch with the outside world. Are you hiding anything? All communications from the island are monitored, and they've also set up several jammers. It's not possible to contact the outside world with regular communication equipment. You'd think they have something like anti-jammers as an investigator. So what you're saying is that it is possible with special equipment? Well, I have an optical wireless communication device. I can communicate directly with satellites by using a high-power laser. This will avoid any jammers on the island, and there's no way the communications can be intercepted. But this device has a major drawback. It can't be used if there's too much cloud cover. Not bad for a stupid little girl. Exactly, it's not a big deal in a normal area, but in the illusion, it's a problem. There's a cloud cover all year round, so it can't be used to communicate often. Very smart of them to give it to her, knowing where she was going, but okay. Since we arrived on this island, I haven't been able to use it even once. And even then, the beam needs to be focused precisely, making it very difficult to use. Still, good to have in case of an emergency. Where it wouldn't work! Like at a moment's notice. You kid, have you not listened? Yes, it would be really nice not to be dead by then. Also, without conclusive evidence that those weapons are being developed here, nobody will be coming for us. The risk is too high. Oh, what about the dead people suddenly turning up? We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So Ikeda, do you really think we can survive this? Judging from the cold-blooded ways each of the dead has been murdered, we're dealing with a professional assassin. Or the demon. Oh, and let's not forget about that creature. I'm doing everything I can, and if things really go south, we could always try the healing power of a prayer. Stop joking around. What good would prayer do? I've seen enough darkness and evil in my life. If there was a god, this world would be a little bit less wretched. And if God does exist, he doesn't get involved in anything, so he might just as well not exist. so I don't pray to God. I know I'm the only one looking out for myself. My lady. Welcome to the wonderful world of sarcasm. I don't mean everything I say so literally, you know. She reminds me of someone. Come to think of it, your office is in New York, isn't it? Can you see the Manhattan skyline from there? What's this all of a sudden? Yeah, my office has a great night view of it. Someone asked me this before, right? Who did? Who asked me this? Ikeda, if you don't stop lying, the demon will rip your tongue out. Actually, I'm bending the truth a little bit, but I do know a few places from where you can see the skyline at night. I see, the Manhattan skyline. I've never seen it with my own eyes. If I die, would you make it out of here? Please scatter my ashes there. Great, thank you for raising that flag. I don't have any friends or family. I'd rather be put to rest there than 6 feet under. Enough gloomy talk. Also, you can't see the skyline if all that's left of you are some ashes. Come to New York in one piece instead. I don't want to carry around your urn. I don't think all of us will be getting off this island alive. It's alright, if you die and I survive, I'll scatter your ashes on the East River. Very kind of you, but we're all getting out of here alive. We can have breakfast in Manhattan, hamburgers for lunch, dinner in Brooklyn at night, and finally, drinks at a bar. Is that a good plan for New York? Like, is that fun? And the East River won't have to be polluted with any kind of our ashes. I guess that's something to look forward to. Alright. With that out of the way, I might have had a little bit too much to drink. I'll sober up in my room and come back a little later. Do not reveal my true identity to anyone, okay? Of course, no need to tell me. We'll just pretend that things are the same as before, don't worry. Actually, I'm more worried about the gloomy girl. Don't worry about her. Naniko doesn't even possess the communication skills that would allow her to talk about that. You, stop insulting me. But come to think of it, you're probably right. I'll see you later. Bye, Real. Try not to get killed on your way to your room. Whew, at least we discovered her real identity, which didn't really help us at all, but okay. I'm glad we did, but what are we going to do now? Of course, our next step will be unmasking the killer. In her testimony, Real talked about everyone. If we combine and compare all of the testimonies, I'm convinced that we will be able to unmask the killer.